Welcome to another episode of Northern Lights, Canadian Women in Tech and Business, where we highlight the incredible journeys of inspiring women who are shaping the future of technology and business in Canada. Today, we have the honor of speaking with a true trailblazer in the tech world. Our guest, Janet Bannister, is the founder and managing partner of Staircase Ventures. Janet's career began as a brand manager at Procter & Gamble, followed by a successful tenure as engagement manager at McKinsey & Co. Before launching Staircase Ventures, Janet was the managing partner at Real Ventures, one of Canada's largest and most active early stage investors. She also serves as co-chair of C100 and sits on the boards of Communitech in Waterloo, the Vector Institute in Toronto, and the Ivy Business School. In 2004, Janet launched Kijiji.ca, growing it into one of Canada's most visited websites. Her career includes 4 years at eBay in Silicon Valley, where she helped transform eBay from collectibles marketplace to a mainstream platform. She also founded and built successful consulting businesses and served as a CEO at venture-backed up startup prior to her work at Real Ventures. Janet's awards are numerous, including being named Venture Capital Journal's 2021 Women of Influence in Private Markets, PitchBook's 2021 Female Founders and Investors to Know, and American Banker's 2019 Most Influential Women in Payments. Janet, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy to be speaking with you.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me onto your show. It's wonderful to be here.
Great. I have a really great list of questions that I would like for us to get through today. So I was thinking maybe you could start off by telling us what inspired you to pursue a career in tech and business.
So I guess I was always interested in business. From the time I was 15 years old, I was just fascinated by the business world, and I spent my high school and university years running my own businesses. And I think what interested me most about business was the power for one person, or the opportunity for one person to create a business that had a big impact on other people. So I just saw business and business leadership as a way to multiply the impact that one person can have in a positive way. And then in terms of technology specifically, after I was about 8 years into my career, I worked at, as you said, I worked at Procter & Gamble, I worked at McKinsey, and I sort of, realized that technology was going to change everything. And that I had to get involved in technology, because if I didn't learn something about technology, I was going to be left behind, because I thought every industry, every functional area is going to be transformed by technology. That being said, I don't consider myself a technologist per se. I would consider myself a business person who sees technology as a means to an end, not an end in itself. So I guess I just say that because if anybody's listening and thinking, well, maybe I don't love writing code, or I'm just not that excited about technology. As a writing code, it doesn't mean that you can't have a great career in technology. Mm-hmm. If you love, you can apply technology, can be applied to all sorts of different things.
Mm-hmm. And, what an amazing journey you've had. And it's so great to see your passion for tech and business, continue through. And I think I would really like to know, what can you tell us about your first job in the tech industry and what it taught you?
So I guess my first job really in the tech industry was when I was at eBay. So I moved to Silicon Valley and joined eBay in 2000. And it was an incredible experience. And I think what it learned so much. I think being in Silicon, I guess I always think about there's sort of the two dimensions, right? There's there's the work, and then there's almost the personal growth. And so I think from a sort of tactical, it taught me the power of technology. It taught me so many things in terms of, how to analyze technology, how to and how to build a technology business. So in terms of those core skills, but I think it also opened my eyes to a few things that I love technology, and probably one of the things that I love about it today is that it can be used to disrupt the status quo. Mm-hmm. It can be used to create new business models. So you take eBay, I just think it's really interesting. eBay used technology to enable person-to-person transactions that were never possible before, right? Or you think about Uber as an example, or all these. So I find it very interesting to think about what are the new business models, what are the new opportunities that can be created by leveraging technology. So I love that. I think it also made me realize, as somebody without a technology background, that I could be very successful in the field of technology, and that by adopting a mindset of always wanting to learn, always wanting to grow, and taking on new challenges, you can be successful in anything you want to be successful in.
That's so great to hear. And I think you touched on this a little bit. I'm guessing the transition to eBay in Silicon Valley must have been a really huge step for you. And maybe you could talk a little bit about that transition and helping, you transform the company.
Yeah, it was. Like I remember some things. It was I wouldn't say it was a bigger step than any of the other steps in my career in terms of the step up. I think what I brought, I think with all my experiences, like I have gone through bunch of different things in my career in terms of different types of experiences. Like somebody once said to me, Janet, like you've gone from Procter and Gamble to McKinsey to eBay to venture capital, like all of these things seem very disjointed. But the way I thought about it, I thought, no, I think everything can build on everything else. And so when I went into eBay and I had this task of, eBay was 80 or 90% of the things bought and sold on eBay were collectibles. And I was given responsibility to grow the non-collectibles categories. Well, yeah, in a way you could say, well, Janet, you don't know anything about technology and building a tech business. But I was like, yes, but I do know a lot about building consumer businesses from my time at eBay. I do know a lot about how consumers make decisions and how you can change consumers' behavior. And I do know a lot about how to think strategically. And so those skills enabled me to lay the groundwork for developing a strategy by which that eBay followed to grow from being a collectibles to a mainstream marketplace. And I also knew, again, from my entrepreneurial experience, even though it wasn't tech related, I knew how to get things done and execute. And I knew from my time at Procter and Gamble how to navigate through a company, talk to the right people, get things done, prioritize your projects. And so I guess I'd use that because I think, again, for anybody who's listening, is that your career will probably involve a bunch of different types of roles. And I think the key is not viewing different roles as, oh my gosh, this is so different, I need to start from scratch. It's like, no, actually, you can probably leverage a ton of what you've learned previously into your new role by thinking about it in the right way.
That's great to hear. And I think it's really great that you have used, all of what you've learned from the past as, your next step up, every bit of the way. So I'm really curious, what motivated you to launch Kijiji.ca and how did you grow it to become one of Canada's most visited websites?
Yeah, so basically, I was at eBay in Silicon Valley and I moved back to Canada because my husband and I are both from Canada and we want to live here and raise our family here. And when I came back to Canada, I immediately sort of looked at, hey, how is eBay doing in Canada versus every other country in the world? And what I immediately saw was that Canadians were spending a ton of time online and a ton of time on eBay. They were visiting eBay, but they were, relative to other countries in the world, they were like half as likely to convert from visitors to actually taking any action to bidding or buying on an item. And so I thought, okay, this is not an eBay situation. This is more of a macro situation where Canadians spend a ton of time online, but are very reluctant to purchase online. And so given that dynamic, what is a model that would work better in Canada? And I actually came up with 4 or 5 models and eventually decided that we should be launching a classifieds business in Canada. Now, at that time, like the folks at eBay thought this would never work. They were like, no, Craigslist is already there. Craigslist is in Canada. You'll never be able to build a successful new business classifieds business in Canada. But I really believed in it. And I think to your point, like what motivated me is it was very much an intrinsic desire to create something. I
Mhm.
will say that I think in life and in business, you need to be doing something that you're passionate about and that you really care about, and that's got to get you out of bed every morning. It can't be, well, I need to do this because otherwise the boss is gonna, I don't know, get me in trouble. Like I
Yeah.
think a lot about that, even like when I was working at Real Ventures, I thought I do a ton of work that nobody else in the company even knows about. I go to events, I do this, I do that, and nobody even knows about it. But I
Mhm.
don't care because I'm doing it because I think it's the right thing to do. And so, anyways, getting back to Kijiji, I just had this desire to create something, to build something, to make a difference. And that was what really drove me. I will say another couple of things. A lot of people told me that it wouldn't work. A lot of people, like people at eBay, told me it wouldn't work. People in the market told me it wouldn't work.
Mhm.
And but I believed that it would work. And I thought, you know what, I think it's going to work and I'm going to give it my best. And if it doesn't work, well, I'll go off and do something else. But I think it's going to be successful. And I was determined and worked hard. I will say that another thing is some people have said to me, Kijiji, like it just came out of nowhere. Now everybody knows Kijiji. And it's like, yeah, like it wasn't that easy, right? And I think that a lot of times, I think it's another lesson is that a lot of times people will look at other people or other companies and think, why is it so easy for them when
Mhm.
over here, me, I'm struggling? And I think the reality is it is hard for everybody. You might just not see how hard it is. But it was hard and we struggled and we tried a bunch of different things. And figured out. And I think we made, and I can go into it if you're interested in terms of some of the strategic decisions that we made that I think worked out well.
Mhm. It must have been so amazing to see that success, and your perseverance is just incredible. And you've received numerous awards, including venture capitals, journals, women of influence in private markets. How do these recognitions impact your work and your mission?
So, that's very nice. I have received a lot of awards. They don't really impact me. Frankly, I mean, I appreciate, like, yeah, it's nice. That's very nice. I take it as a compliment,
Mhm.
but I don't do what I do for the rewards and the recognition. What really gets me excited is when I work with an entrepreneur and I help that person and then they're successful or they overcome something or they close a big deal or they're like, to me, or I see them grow as human beings and I see them grow as leaders. Like that's what gives me my greatest joy. Um, and they were like the public recognition. It's like, okay, that's nice. But that doesn't motivate me. That's not what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point. And I think this also leads really great into my next question, which is what advice would you give to young girls and women who aspire to build a career in tech and business, such as what you have done?
Yeah, I would say so. A couple of things. Don't ever let anybody else intimidate you.
Mhm.
Go after what you want to do. Don't let people tell you what you cannot do. Just focus on what you want to do and find a way.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that I love technology. As I said, I love technology more really because I think that it creates massive opportunities. It creates disruption in industries. And massive changes. And I think that that's all very exciting. Um, I would say, at the same time, I would say pursue what gets you excited. Like I have found in my career, I have been most successful when I'm doing something that I love to do. And whenever I've said, you know what, I just really want to do that. Like I really want to launch my own fund. I really want to build this Kijiji business. Then I find that I think then you bring that a whole new level of passion and energy and determination and grit to it.
Mhm.
But if it's like, oh, well, I suppose I should do this thing because it's good for my career. And if I take this job, then it will set me up well. I think it's just very difficult to get the best out of yourself.
Mhm.
And so I would say, listen to your passion and listen to what you really want to do and go after that.
Thank you so much for that advice, Janet. I think it'll be really helpful for a lot of young girls who are looking to follow in your footsteps. So I'm really interested to know, what do you see as the most exciting opportunities and trends in Canadian tech ecosystem over the next decade?
Well, I mean, I guess you'd have to say AI, right? In
Mhm.
terms of
Yeah.
what's happening with AI, and that I think that that will have a lot of transformation. Um, we invest right now in terms of what I do at Staircase Ventures. We invest in early stage tech startups. So I love, thinking about new technology companies that are going to be created and that are going to be built, which is super exciting. I think that technology and AI specifically is going to transform every industry. And I think in some cases, the existing players will transform, and there's opportunities to work with existing companies and help them transform their businesses. And in other cases, it's going to be new players, new companies that come along and win massive market share because they are able to move faster.
Mhm. Well, Janet, I really want to thank you for your time and for sharing all your insights. It's really so important. You've brought up so many amazing points. And I just have one last question for you.
Okay.
What legacy do you hope to leave in the tech and business world, and how do you want to be remembered?
So I want to help people achieve their full potential and realize their dreams.
Mhm.
And that's what I think about. And I think about doing that is sort of in different, almost like different circles. There's the people who I can touch directly and meet with and spend a lot of time with. Then there's people who I spend, less time with. And then there's people who maybe I don't even know, who may listen to my podcast or read something that I do that motivates people. But that's really what I want to do. If I can help people believe in themselves, believe in their dreams, go after things and realize their full potential, like, to me, that is, the greatest thing that I could do.
Thank you so much for that answer. I love it. It's been such an honor to speak with you. You've had such a remarkable impact on tech and venture capital industries, and an even larger impact on fostering innovation and entrepreneurship in Canada. And I really just want to thank you for your valuable time and for all the great advice you shared with our listeners.
Berlin, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for putting on this amazing podcast. And I love what you're doing and how you are bringing these messages to people. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Janet. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Have a good day.